Today we'll be answering the most important question of all time. Who is the greatest anime MC of all time? And what better way to do a tier list for it? There's gonna be certain requirements to what make the greatest MC. Do they have drip? Do they have a good anime? And do they have great memes? And all the other boring stuff that makes a great MC, like character development, character arc, how good their anime is, all that boring stuff. But we care about the MC, how goated they are. And what better MC to start off with than Goku? The god, the myth, the legend, Goku. When you think of MCs, you tend to think of Goku. Name a more perfect MC. MC with the drip. An MC with memes, an MC that's a Sigma male. Now, name a more perfect MC. So to start off with, Goku, already automatic S tier. He's the set bar, the set standard for what makes a great MC. A perfect MC in every single way. Next up is Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy. Name another great MC from One Piece. One Piece, an amazing anime. Not gonna lie, I haven't yet finished it. Only 400 chapters in. And I'm still nowhere near halfway done, which is insane to me. But One Piece is real. The One Piece is real. I have no idea what that reference is from, but I know it's important to the manga, so the One Piece is real. Another MC with amazing memes. I know he has a Gucci collab, but when we're ranking MCs, is he on a Goku level? His memes are not quite there, but name an MC that is also goated as well. I have to put Monkey D. Luffy and S tier as well. Name an iconic, a more iconic character than Luffy. The only person you can name is someone like Goku. Obviously, I do like a little bit of the side characters more than I like Luffy. I like Zoro a lot more. I like Zoro a lot more than Luffy, but this ain't a Zoro tier list. This is a MC tier list. Next up is Jojo, the drip god, the drip king. Name a more person with better drip than Jojo. He's had 2 different outfits, and they're both drippy. So Jojo, another GOAT MC, probably one of my favorite MCs in all of anime. I do like Joseph a little bit more. So I'll put Jojo for an A tier. Jojo for A tier. Not my favorite MC, but I respect him. I respect what he has to offer. He definitely has Zoro. If you haven't watched Jojo's, you just got spoiled. So hopefully you just take that out of your mind and pretend like I never said that. Next up is Shinji. Shinji, the ultimate Sigma male. Right? Shinji, one of my favorite characters, anime MCs of all time. I love him. I love the memes that come out from him. In case you guys don't know, if you look at my YouTube banner, Shinji is my O in accent. So Shinji, love him as a character. I think he's one of the few characters where he's so soft that it makes him such a good team. Like him being mentally weak is probably his biggest strength in being such a great main character for Evangelion, because pretty much Evangelion is the show that created mental illness. Since Shinji is the first person to ever have mental illness, and Evangelion is the one that created depression, have to put him in S tier. He is literally the creator of depression. Next up is Gon. Gon Freaks. Right? I think his last name is Freaks. Gon, another lovable MC. I could not try to spoil Gon for you if you haven't watched Hunter x Hunter, but the anime hasn't finished, the manga hasn't finished. We might have to wait for 2077 for that show to ever finally get an ending, or maybe even be halfway done. So Gon, not my favorite MC. I like Kurapika a lot more, so I'd probably put Gon in C tier. Next up is, I already forgot this guy's name, the guy from Your Lie in April. I already forgot his name. Let me look it up. Kosei. Oh, that's what his name, Kosei Arima, right? Kosei Arima. I don't know how to say his last name, but Kosei, definitely another favorite MC of mine. Love him a lot. But Kosei, where would I put him exactly? If I was to put Kosei in this tier list, another person who was my first introduction to what depression was. Kosei, I don't know if I like him that much, just because he feels so bland. Not to put it in a negative way, but just he feels empty slate, sort of, where you can put he feels like a very self-insert MC. So if I was supposed to put him anywhere, I'd probably put him in C tier with Gon. Next up is Lelouch Rampoos, you know, one of my favorite MCs of all time. If you haven't watched Code Geass, go watch it now, because, you know, if you're never going to watch Code Geass, you're probably going to never watch Peak for the rest of your life. So Code Geass, if I was to put it anywhere, I'd put it S tier. I love Lelouch. Lelouch, such a cool character. Lelouch, definitely an S tier MC. You know, there's so much to like about him, you know, but I don't really want to get into too much spoilers, because, you know, if you haven't watched the show, anything I say about Lelouch will probably ruin it for you. So if you haven't go watch the anime, go watch it now. He's an amazing MC, definitely an S tier, and definitely has some drip along with him. Kirito Emiya. Now, if you haven't watched Fate Zero, go watch it. You know, the Fate series is not that hard to watch. You might have someone like Gidak who says you have to watch like 10 billion Fate series. You gotta, like, other people's like, oh, I don't know how to get into the Fate series. Literally, it's super easy. Just watch Fate Zero and then watch Fate Unlimited Blade Works. You don't need to watch the original Fate Stay Night. No one watches it. I have never watched it in my life. I plan to, but I got like a couple of episodes in, and, you know, the animation's like so much garbage compared to the rest of the series that I just can't finish it. So just watch Fate Zero Unlimited Blade Works, and then watch the movies. The movies are like super good. But, you know, if I was supposed to put them anywhere, definition of a Sigma male, gets all his missions done no matter what. You know, just an amazing character. You know, he literally sacrifices anyone to achieve his goal. Pure Sigma energy, you know, pure MC energy, you know, any means possible. He is the guy who embodies the ends justify the means. And Kirito Emiya, I like him, but I think I like the future MC a little bit better, so I'd put him A tier for me. Next up is Rurouni Kenshin. Now, Rurouni Kenshin, definitely an older character, so for a lot of you Gen Zers, which is I'm a Gen Zer, you have probably never heard of Rurouni Kenshin. He's definitely an old-fashioned anime. I watched this growing up. I don't think I've ever finished the show, but I know a lot about it. Right, I think I've watched like, I don't know, 2 seasons of it, but, you know, definitely one of my favorite MCs. I think he's kind of like really good, but, you know, like I wouldn't say he's on like a Goku level, you know. I wouldn't say he's I don't think he's on a Goku level, so I put him B tier, you know, solid B tier, you know, right above Gon and piano guy, I already forgot his name already, Kosei, but, you know, Rurouni Kenshin, I love him as an MC, but, you know, I don't think he's quite a Jotaro tier or Kirito Emiya tier. Next up is Baki, you know, TikTok's favorite anime character, Baki, you know, everyone's grind set anime type of character, right? I've seen so many Baki edits that, you know, it's actually insane. You know, I feel like I've seen more Baki edits than I've seen the actual show, right? So Baki, if I was to put him anywhere, I like a lot of the other characters more than Baki. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what's it called? I forgot what's the guy's name. His father, right? His father, I forgot his name. The one with the demon back. I think he's like such insane, such better than Baki, like the main character, because of his pure Black Force energy. I think I like a lot of the other characters more than I actually like Baki himself. So I'd put like Baki C tier with like Gon and Kosei. Next up is Naruto. Now you might be wondering, where would I put Naruto? I have Goku, I have Luffy, 2 of the most iconic anime MCs of all time. Where would I put another third iconic MC of all time? Naruto. Well, I think I have to first talk about one glaring issue with Naruto, right? Naruto, a great MC, a great anime, you know, a great character development, all of that good stuff, you know, all that boring stuff that no one cares about. We gotta talk about the main issue about Naruto. It's how he's a simp. Now you might be wondering, accent, how is he a simp, right? Because I've never seen him simp for Nada. Maybe he simp for Sakura a little bit in Naruto, but, you know, he didn't simp for her in Shippuden. No, I'm talking about how he simps for my boy Sasuke, right? I've never seen a bigger simp for Naruto for Sasuke, and for that reason, I have to create a new tier called the simp tier, where I'll put Naruto, and I'll also put Kosei, because, you know, I'd also put Gon, because, you know, Gon also simped for his dad, so I'd put Kosei, Naruto, and Gon, because, you know, Kosei simped for the main girl of the, you know, the show, Naruto simped for Sasuke, Gon simped for his dad, that, you know, that's the whole reason why we got the show. None of these other characters are simps as much, but, you know, here we have the simp tier. You have pretty much the whole show revolves around them being a simp. So, you know, Naruto, because he simped so much for Sasuke, I have to create a new tier for him called the simp tier. Next up is the guy from Samurai Shampoo. I totally forgot his name. I haven't finished the show yet, right? I plan to finish the show, but first off, I gotta get this out of the way. He is voiced by the voice actor of Zoro, so automatically points for me. You know that Zoro voice actor has such a cool voice. So for me, I'd probably put him C tier just because I haven't finished the show. I do think he's very cool, but I can't put him any higher than C tier because I still haven't finished the show. So I'm not gonna put him over like a samurai like Rurouni Kenshin when I haven't even finished the show. Next up is Saint Seiya, you know, the Hispanics' favorite, greatest anime MC. You know, I haven't even finished Saint Seiya yet, but you know, for the people who have, which I think is very little because I know a lot of people haven't finished Saint Seiya, I think it's so cool. Episode 1, he literally punches a rock, and you know how he explains how he punches this boulder? He breaks the particles inside the boulder, so he's pretty much like punching the particles, like the atoms, like the microscopic atoms. He's breaking them apart with one punch and breaking all through all the atoms to break the boulder apart. That's literally insane. Like, I've never heard such a ass pull in my life. I've never heard such crazy nonsense power like that. For that reason, he has to go with the S tier Sigma males for literally breaking atoms with one punch. You know, who cares about the actual character development that he has? You know, he literally breaks atoms with a punch when he was like a little boy, when he was like 7 years old, which is insane. Next up, also another great MC, you know, one of the few MCs who got trashed on when he first came out, you know, when his first anime came out. And luckily I wasn't there when his first anime came out, and I'd heard of all the backlash Black Clover got. But you know, I watched it probably like when the Elf arc was still coming out, like a little bit before like the whole grand finale of the Elf arc. I started watching it, and I binge watched it to catch up before like all the time skip and all that happens. So I was able to go in with like kind of an empty mind, and no one like telling me, oh, Black Clover's bad, oh, Black Clover's trash. So you know, I didn't have all the simpletons, you know, the commoners yelling in my ear how apparently Black Clover is bad. So I went in. Amazing anime, probably one of the best shonen animes in my opinion of all time. I don't think it's like necessarily like it does anything innovative, but what it does, what it works with is so good that it doesn't really need to be innovative, but at the same time it's peak shonen for me. So Asta being a Sigma male, you know, being the grind set type of guy, you know, who accomplishes the means at all possible. He's kind of like a Goku in that similar aspect, but Asta, one of my favorite MCs of all time. If you've in my Discord, in case you don't know, I have a Discord. I love Asta, so I put Asta S tier. You know, obviously biased by my point of view, but you know, Asta, a great Sigma male. But obviously Asta is just a great MC. You know, love his character development, and especially after the time skip, he just looks way better. So next up is Saitama, the One Punch Man, right? You know, in case you guys don't know, I'm one of the few people who is not high on One Punch Man season 1. Yeah, insane. What, a person who isn't saying One Punch Man season 1 is the best anime of time? Oh no, that's crazy. Yes, I'm one of those people who think it's good, but I think a little people overhype it a little too much. I'm not gonna lie. I do think it's good, but you know, personally, it's cool that he one punches everyone, but you know, kind of a little lackluster at times. So if I was to put One Punch Man, I am just not that big a fan of him. I like a lot of other characters, mainly Goro. Goro's so cool in that show. I put like Saitama in a C tier. I like him. I don't think he should go in simp tier because I don't really think of any character he simps for. So I'll put him C tier. Kirito, definitely not a simp. You know, if you have watched the show, he does not simp for anyone. Next up is Deku, such a silly baka, you know, at 13-year-old's favorite MC. You know, I like Deku season 1. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm a fan of Deku in season 1, a little bit in season 2. Season 3 and 4, you know, especially season 4, I'm not gonna lie, I skipped that season. I watched a bit of it, but you know, I skipped it after that mini tournament arc. Let's just say I didn't really finish it, and I'm just on to season 5. But besides that, Deku, I think he's like the Walmart version of Goku, the Walmart version of Asta. I think Asta is like Deku times 1,000 for me. So Deku goes in the simp tier for simping for All Might. So next up is Shinra. Shinra, I think he's such a cool concept. I haven't finished Fire Force. No surprise, I haven't finished a lot of these animes. I haven't finished like a couple of these animes. I've finished a lot of anime, so don't hate on me that I haven't finished your favorite anime. But Shinra, I think he's such a cool concept about like every time he's like, I think every time he's like sad, he smiles, which is like, I think it's pretty cool for like being named like kind of like looking like a devil. So I think if I was supposed to put Shinra anywhere, I'd probably put him B or C tier. C tier, just because I haven't finished the show. Overlord guy, you know, I totally forget what this guy's name is. I haven't finished Overlord as well, because in case you guys don't know, in my Discord I always tell people I hate isekais. What? You hate isekais? Yeah, I know. I don't like isekais. It's not surprising. I feel like I'm not the only one who doesn't like isekais, but unless like an isekai is like super inventive, like a Devilman part-timer, or you know, I did watch Sword Art Online. You know, I finished all of that. But that was because that was like the start of isekais. But you know, besides that, I don't watch a lot of isekais. Overlord was one of the few isekais I did watch. Only season 1 though. So if I was to put him anywhere, I think he'd probably be C tier, just because he's like such a like typical isekai type of character where he's just a because he's just like a self-insert MC where he's like, he doesn't really have any personality, because like you're supposed to like put yourself inside his perspective. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like a self-insert MC, you know, like how in video games like the MC is supposed to be so bland so you can like pretend you're the MC. That's how I feel like about Overlord. Now to another good MC, Akira. You know, the Akira from Devilman Cryberry. Now, he is one of my favorite MCs of all time. I think he's such a perfect embodiment for what his show is supposed to be. He's literally the devil, like, that's actually sympathetic. And I don't really want to spoil for Devilman Cryberry, because I know it's like not that popular as compared to like a Goku or Luffy, but you know, Goku has like, you know, everyone knows like Goku's transformations like Super Saiyan, and everyone knows like Luffy's transformations like Gear 1, Gear 2, Gear 4 and all that, and everyone knows like not Super Saiyan, Nine Tails, like all the Nine Tails forms Naruto has. But you know, Akira is a very niche character, and I don't really want to spoil like what happens in the show and like his villains. But you know, Akira, when he is the Devil Man, I think he's actually such an interesting character. Obviously, I've never seen the original anime, and I've never read the original manga, which I do want to read one day. I want to read that Devilman Crybaby manga. But you know, Akira has to be one of my favorite MCs of all time. I'd have to put him A tier though, just because like he's there, but you know, like I wish I had more with him. You know, it's such a short anime that I wish I kind of had more with him. Like everyone in S tier like had like 24 episodes plus, where like I had so much time to like see their character unfold, while Akira just like, I feel like it was just depression all the way. You know, I never really got to see much of him because of how short the show was. So if his show was longer, I'd definitely put him in the S tier with all these goats up here. Next up is Ash Ketchum. Now, name a more nostalgic main character than Ash, right? I'm pretty sure we all know Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. But, you know, Ash Ketchum, you know, from Pokemon has to be one of the greatest MCs of all time. You know, I don't think any more iconic moments with everyone else than Ash Ketchum. I've seen him say so much iconic lines. I've seen him go thick and thin with some of like the favorite Pokemons. You know, remember that first episode of Pokemon when Ash literally takes up like all that attack from the other Pokemons to save Pikachu? A tough moment. A well-respected moment in, you know, all of our minds when we were kids. And remember the Pokemon movie in Mewtwo when he Ash literally dies? Like, yeah, he literally dies if you've never seen Mewtwo, which I expect everyone's seen Mewtwo. It's been like what, 20 years since that movie came out, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it at this point. Like I spoiled it for you. I don't really care to spoil you the Pokemon movie. I don't think anyone's gonna be like, oh no, I got spoiled for the Pokemon movie. But you know, Ash Ketchum dies in that movie, and then he gets revived by all the Pokemon's tears, which is insane. You know, it's such a goat move for Ash. You know, he literally puts his life on the line for a Pokemon, and I just think that deserves worthy of S tier for Ash. Next up is Ichigo, the drip god himself. Name a more drippier character than Ichigo. I'll wait. You can't, right? The only one who could compete him is Goku in the Supreme Jacket. So, you know, besides that, Ichigo, the drippiest MC of all time. You know, the new anime is going to come out anytime soon this month, right? Right now, when I'm recording, the anime hasn't come out, so don't spoil the first episode for me in the comments, or don't spoil any about the Blood War for me in the comments. But you know, Obviously, I haven't seen this form yet. I know this is from the manga and it's for the Blood War, but spoiled already. So hopefully, the new anime comes back and makes Ichigo super cool, and I can't wait to see all of it. But for me, even though he is the drip god himself, I'll put him A tier just because I feel like if Ichigo had like a Goku mentality where he just wanted to fight, I think he'd be like a little bit cooler, right? Obviously, I like the part where Ichigo just like he doesn't really want to fight, but obviously he fights for his friends and all that, MC type of main character type of stuff. But I think if he had the mentality to fight like Goku, I think he'd be a little bit cooler. So that's why I'm putting you A tier, just because he has a little tiny flaw. Next up is the main character from Parasite. Now, Parasite, definitely an anime I love, definitely an anime you should see. I think he is also a really cool character. I don't know if I'd put him a simp tier, just because, he hasn't really simped for anyone. But, the guy from Parasite, I'd probably put him B tier with Rurouni Kenshin. I think he is a pretty solid MC, but I don't know if I'd really want to put him anywhere else. But just the moments where he has the Parasite alongside with him, I think it's pretty cool. I just don't think there's like really any moments where I'm just like, oh yeah, this MC is cool. Right now, I can't even think of any. Right, I can't even think of like a cool moment to talk about this MC. I don't really remember his name. I think it was like Shinji. Something like that. Obviously there is only one GOAT Shinji, and that's from Evangelion, the man who created depression himself. Next up is Edward from Full Metal Alchemist. Now, Edward, I am not a big fan of Full Metal Alchemist as a lot of people. I understand, I literally watch it and I'm like, I see why this anime is so good, but I don't enjoy it at the levels of like other good animes like a One Piece or a Dragon Ball Z or like a Code Geass. I don't know how to explain it, right? I'm literally watching the show and I'm like, this is a good anime, this is a really good anime, but for some reason it doesn't like get me the feeling of like, man, I'm watching a good anime. I can't really explain it, right? Full Metal Alchemist, like, man, the storytelling is amazing, but at the same time I'm just like, it's good, but it's like, it's not a show that I'd recommend to people, right? That's how I feel about Full Metal Alchemist. I think it's really good, and I think about the main characters, which is like Edward and his brother. I forgot his brother's name. Edward and I totally forgot his name. The metal guy, right? So Edward and the metal guy, they're definitely not my favorite characters in the show. I definitely like what's it called? Oh, the guy with the X on his face. The guy with a giant X on his face for no reason. I think it's like a scar or something. But I just like how he just grabs people's face and like burns them off. That's way cool. And I also like the fire guy where he just like snaps and he just like sets people on fire. I think there's a lot more cooler characters than the actual MCs. The MCs Edward and the other guy, the metal guy, have in common and that make them really stand out is their backstories. But I really want to put them in like a B tier with Rurouni Kenshin. I really like Rurouni Kenshin and the guy from Parasite, in case you guys didn't know. Next up is the orange-haired kid from, Promised Neverland. I do not care to look up his name, right? Obviously, I forgot who else I looked up his name. Kosei, I looked up his name. I will not give him the courtesy to look up this orange-haired kid's name. You know why? Because Promised Neverland Season 2 ruined this show. I remember watching the first part of Season 2, and I'm like, man, this is really good. I can't wait for who's answering the phone. And all of a sudden, time skip. What? We're in like a different area. This guy's brought back to life. What happened here? What's going on? Like, I was literally interested in the beginning of Season 2. Why'd you just time skip? Apparently I just stopped watching it from them because I did not care. You lost me, whoever created the show. So personally, I do not care about what happened to this guy or what happened to the story. I don't care how good Season 1 is. Just because of how abysmal Season 2 was, I'm putting him F tier. You're the reason why you ruined the show, because you literally time skipped and like for some reason you were back. So F tier just because of Season 2. Next up is Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Eren Yeager, I was not a big fan of him. Let me just say that. I was not a big fan of him when the show first started. I was not a big fan of, how edgy Eren turned in that one time skip and all that. I was not a big fan. But when we got the newest season, where like he literally, spoiler, because I have to talk about Eren when talking about this, when he literally sacrifices his dad's like mental status to achieve his goals, it literally convinced me of how great Eren was as a main character. But then I read the manga. I read the manga before the newest season came out. I read it when they did like all the spinal fluid, you know, it's not that's a spoiler if you haven't watched it, but spinal fluid, if you haven't watched the show, you have no idea what that means. But you know, when the spinal fluid thing happened, but you know, I watched it at that point, right? I started reading the manga and I finished the manga. Now, in case you guys don't know, I finished the manga, and if you're not a manga reader, just pretend like I'm not gonna say anything here. After reading the manga, he's an F tier MC for me, right? If we're talking about Erin right now, where he's at currently in that anime, for you anime plebs, he's probably like an A tier for me, or maybe even S tier MC for me, right? But when I've read the manga, he's now an F tier MC. But you know, I'll put him where he currently is in the anime. I'll put him A tier, right? For you anime watchers, I'll put him A tier. But you know, when that final season comes out, I can't wait to see what Attack on Titan fans say about the whole entire show in general. I can't wait for that to happen. I'm praying on Attack on Titan fans' downfall. I can't wait to see what people think of the final season of Attack on Titan, because I know a lot of people will be disappointed, and I was one of them when I read the manga. Next up is this guy that I've never seen before. In case you guys don't know, I didn't create this tier list. Someone else created this tier list. So there is characters I've never seen before, or ever like watched the show before. But this guy, I've never watched his anime, but you know, I've seen a couple images with him, and he has 2 swords for arms, right? So I've never seen the show, but having 2 swords for arm is actually insane, right? 2 swords for arms is S tier for me, right? You know, insane. You know, I have no idea what his character is. I don't care about all the boring stuff about his character development and his backstory. I just care that he has 2 swords for arm, and in no world is that not cool. S tier MC for me. Next up is Jolene. Now, Jolene, I can't wait for the final part for Stone Ocean to finally happen. It will be airing December the 1st, and I can't wait. And I am hyped for when it comes out. I remember going into Stone Ocean and people saying, oh, it's the worst part. Don't have your hopes up. It's not that good. I went into it. People were saying, oh, it's the worst part. You know, all that, blah, blah, blah. All the manga readers putting propaganda on Twitter and all that. You know, going into it, it has to be one of my favorite parts. You know, probably better than part 5 and part 1 for me. I don't know if it's better than like Blood Tensei and part 3 and part 4, but in case you guys don't know, I'm not a huge fan of part 5. I'm one of the few people who see that part 5 is not that interesting. I'm not a big fan of part 5, but part 6, I love part 6. Jolene, I don't know if she's one of my favorite JoJo's, but she's definitely competing with Jotaro. Obviously I like Jotaro a little bit more, but you know, Jolene definitely steals the show in part 6. You know, if Pucci was here, you know, the real MC of part 6, you know, let me just say he might be an S tier. But you know, apparently we're going by like the regular measurements of, you know, who's the MC in like part 6, and apparently Jolene is the MC, so I guess we'll put her A tier. But we all know, for people who watch part 6, Pucci is the main character, and I will not deny that. Next up is Joseph Joestar, you know, the embodiment of a god MC, you know. Name a person who has all the qualities with drip, memes, and story. You know, he is the perfect JoJo in my eyes. You know, I cannot think of any other JoJos I like more than Joseph. So Joseph, automatic S tier for me. Love him as an MC. Next up is Dr. Tenma from Monster. Now, Monster, an amazing anime, an amazing manga. If you haven't watched Monster, go watch it now. What are you doing with your life? Are you literally choosing not to watch the best show of all time right now? Right? You're literally choosing not to watch Peak, right? And you might be saying, oh, I have nowhere to watch it. It's literally free on YouTube. You can go look up Monster on YouTube, and you can find the whole entire show on YouTube. So go watch Monster, like literally. Go watch now. Watch the rest of this video, of course, and then go look up Monster on YouTube and watch it all, binge it all. I think it's like 74 episodes, and let me just say, one of the best shows of all time. I can't even talk about the main character right now, because if I was to talk about a single part of his character, it'd ruin the whole show for you. So Monster, S tier MC. I can't say anything about him because I know Monster is a very niche anime, and if you haven't watched it, me spoiling anything for you will ruin the show. So go watch it, please, because I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Next up is Josuke. Now, Josuke, probably not my favorite Joestar of the whole entire series. If I was to put him anywhere, I'd probably put him B tier. I think his stand is way cooler than who he actually is, because like literally, the only character trait I can think of is literally his hair, right? Because like that is literally his defining trait, where it's like, oh, you like say something bad about his hair, and like, oh no, he goes all crazy and all that dumb stuff and all that. His backstory for his hair is way cooler than like anything he really has about how like the guy who saved him has the same hair as him, which is kind of weird and never explained ever again. And apparently the guy looks exactly like him. Is like, is he a time traveler? I don't know, they never explained it. But you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the part 4's Jojo, but you know, a likable character. Next up is Kaneki. Now, Kaneki, otherwise known as Kaneki, because, you know, Kaneki is his true name. Kaneki, if I was supposed to put him anywhere, let me just say, I never read the manga, so for you manga readers, oh, Kaneki is so much cooler in the manga and all that garbo stuff. He probably is really cool in the manga, and I've actually had, like, my brother and, like, actual people who read the manga say he's done so much justice in that show. But for me, you know, I've only watched the anime, and only having the anime for my justifications, you know, pretty much goes in the simp tier. You know, I think like most of the show he's simping for like the girl, and you know, simp for his best friend by walking like, I don't know, like spending like 20 minutes on screen walking with the guy's arms in his hands. You know, that like I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like the biblical reference for like I forgot what the guy's name was. You know, when the first murder in the Bible, right? It's supposed to be a reference to all that biblical stuff and all that. But you know, he's pretty much just like simps for every single character in the show. So you know, simp tier. Next up is Kirito, you know, the one who started the worst section of anime, isekais. You know, my least favorite section of anime of all time, isekais. You know, I am the advocate for the isekai genre should just go away. Like, I just, nothing good in most of, well, at least most of isekai is just not good at all. I can't think of a single isekai where I'm just like, man, that has to be one of the best animes I've seen. None. I can think of like other stuff for like shonen, right? Obviously in shonen you got like Dragon Ball Z, you got like a One Piece and like One Punch Man, all like that stuff. People will say, oh, those are some of the best animes of all time. All right, you got the seinen genre where you got like Vagabond and Berserk. Well, those are like some great animes of all time. The Gundam stuff, right? I obviously, well, it's not really called Gundam. I think it's called the mecha section of anime, right? Obviously, you got stuff like what's it called? Evangelion, you got Code Geass. They're all mech animes, but for some reason no one can name me like a great isekai that compete with like one of the best animes of all time. Why isn't there one, right? Because there isn't one. Isekai is just a genre no one likes. I'm not gonna lie. So the guy who started it all, Kirito, you know, for me has to be the best isekai of all time. Not gonna lie. Literally, once you watch Sword Art Online, I'm just like, all right, you watch Sword Art Online, you get the gist. I don't think I need to see an isekai of all time. I think the reason why I like Sword Art Online so much is because like it's the first time you're actually watching isekai, so it's like actually innovative in your eyes. Because I watched it when I was like 14, so you know, in my eyes I'm like, oh wait, this is like a whole new concept. You know, you travel into a world, like a game, and like a different world, and like you live, you die in the world and all that dumb stuff, right? So pretty much like it was like, oh, like this is a cool idea, but you know, it's been beaten to death. Where any isekai I watch where like they get hit by truck-kun, or like I don't know, they get trapped in a video game, or they get transported to a different world, like it's just not it's not interesting anymore. So for it to be the first one to do it, I have to say, because it's like you're not like doled out by like all the other isekais when you're watching isekais now, it has that benefit. But for the main character, D tier, you know, you're literally the reason why the isekai genre exists. So D tier just for that reason. Next up is Light Yagami. Now, Light Yagami has to be one of my favorite MCs of all time. You know, definitely a childhood moment in my life. I think I also watched Death Note as a young kid. You know, pretty detriment to my, you know, mentality, because now I think Light is a perfect MC. You know, I think he is the true hero of that story. You know, most people will be like, oh, L is the hero of the story. No, to me, Kira will always be the main character, and you know, the guy who I've always been rooting for through thick and thin. He should have won in the end, right? So if I was supposed to put Light Yagami anywhere, obviously, you know, he's just the definition of my childhood. I'd also put him S tier along with everyone else. Next up is Boruto. Now, I've never watched Boruto, but you know, I can know a bunch of things from just the pure memes. So apparently most of the reasons he gets into all of these shenanigans is because his dad doesn't pay attention to him. So, you know, he's literally a simp for his dad. So, you know, he goes into the simp tier with everyone else. Next up is the main character from Mob Psycho. Now, Mob Psycho, I forgot exactly what his name is. I think it's just Mob, right? I think his name is literally just Mob, right? So, season 3 has come out. I haven't watched the first 2 episodes, or I think the first episode that hasn't come out, or come out. But, you know, I haven't watched season 3 yet, so I have no opinion on that yet. I've watched season 1 and 2, but, you know, I definitely need to get started in season 3. I don't want to be left behind in the dust by everyone else. So, season 1 and 2, I really like him a lot. I'd probably put him a B tier. I don't really have anything much to say about him. Like, he's, like, bland until, you know, he goes into, like, 100. So, Mob Psycho, B tier for me. Next up is Suna for Hitman Reborn, another great anime manga. You know, a very underrated anime manga of all time. The reason why it's so underrated is because, like, let's just say the beginning of Hitman Reborn turns a lot of people off because, you know, it starts off like as a comedy anime and like people are like, oh, I don't really like this. But eventually it takes a turn where it actually becomes the shonen, and it actually becomes a really good shonen. And I think Suna is a major part of why the anime is so cool. So, in my opinion, go read the manga. I think it's a little bit better than the anime, mainly because it removes all the censorship the anime had. So go read Hitman Reborn because it's an amazing manga. Or you can watch the show. The show's good as well, but I think if you're trying to get like the pure best version of Hitman Reborn, go read the manga. But Suna, an S tier MC for me as well. Next up is Legend of Korra. You know, Korra, you know, it's technically not an anime, but, you know, it's technically an anime in true anime fans' eyes. But, you know, let me start off with Aang Beast. You know, he's the first avatar. Now, if I was supposed to put Aang anywhere, I don't know if I put him, like, necessary S tier because he's not, like, my favorite MC, but, you know, I definitely like him a lot. I definitely like Zuko a little bit more. So if I was supposed to put Aang anywhere A tier, I don't really much have anything to say about him. He doesn't really have any negatives. I think he just exists in a really good anime. Next up is Korra. Now there is a lot to say about Korra. You know, the more unlikable out of the 2 avatars, because I think she is so much surpassed by her like villains. I think the villains are so much better. And let's not mention season 2 of A Legend of Korra. We pretend that doesn't exist, guys. We never accept season 2 of Legend of Korra. Let's just pretend that season just doesn't exist, right? I think Legend of Korra season 1 is the peak of Legend of Korra. I'm not a big fan of like Korra as the MC. I think she's fine. I think she makes sense in her world, but you know, just not that likable as an MC compared to Aang. So I'll put Korra like C tier. Next up is Rin. Now, I'm going to put all of the Fate Stay Night characters because apparently everyone in Fate Stay Night is the main character. So we got Saber, Shiro, and Rin, right? First off, Rin, we'll put her simp tier because, you know, she simps for Shiro. Shiro, we'll put him, I don't know. It depends on what type of Shiro we're talking about because there's like 3 different versions of Shiros, and most of the time he simps for all 3 versions. So in Fate Stay Night, he sims for Rin, and in Fate Stay Night, he sims for Saber, and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, he sims for Rin, and Fate Heaven's Field, he sims for Sakura. So he's a simp tier either way. You know, I'm pretty sure in like the movies, he literally knows I don't really want to spoil it that much, but he literally knows who the villain is, but because he simps for her, you know, he doesn't want to say that she's the villain. So he's so much of a simp that he literally puts the whole world at risk because he's a simp. So insane simping levels for Shiro because he's literally simps in every single version of the show. And he even sims so bad that he even sims for his future self because he says, oh man, look at how cool his swords are. He's so cool that I'm going to copy his swords. So he's literally simping for a weapon and how cool that guy fights. So he's literally the embodiment of mega simp, ultra giga simp. So Shiro is the king of simps and rightfully should be on the top of this tier. I haven't really been keeping these tiers ordered that much, but you know, Shiro should stand at the top of sim tier because, you know, he is the king of sims in every version of Fate. Next up is Saber. Now Saber, a definition of not a simp. This person, Saber literally gets the job done. The Saber is so cool. Literally there's not a cooler character in the Fate series than Saber. I do like Shiro a little bit more. Shiro is definitely one of my favorite characters, but you know, if we're talking about simps, he is the king of simps. So Saber, I'd have to put her in. I don't really think she simps for anyone. Maybe she simps for Kingdom, but you know, that's like for honor and all that boring knight stuff. You know, honor, who cares about that, right? So Saber, I'd probably put her in like an A tier. I think she's super cool, but you know, I don't know if she's my favorite MC. Next up is Soma from Food Wars. Now, Soma, definition of the Chad of food cooking. You know, the Gordon Ramsay of anime, right? Name a better food cooker than Soma. You can't. He's the god, the Gordon Ramsay of anime. So because he's the Gordon Ramsay of anime, and Gordon Ramsay is GOAT, so he has to go S tier because, you know, he's the GOAT of cooking animes. Next up is Senku. Now, personally, where would I put him, right? If I was to put him anywhere, he's definitely a great character, but you know, he has to go in the simp tier because he literally simps for science, right? He literally has an answer for everything because of science. He literally knows everything about science, so he's literally a simp for science, so he goes in the simp tier. Next up is Hinata. I don't exactly know how to say his name. Hinata from Hinata, I don't know how to say his name. Hinata, whatever, the guy from Haikyuu, right? So pretty much, I'm not that big of a fan of him. I'm not a big fan of Haikyuu. I do not understand why people like the show so much. I like the other character more, the prince of the court, you know, his teammate. I think he's the main character in my eyes. I think the episode 1 of Hinata, whatever his name is, I don't know his name. I'm just gonna call him the bank. I'm just gonna call him Haikyuu. You know, Haikyuu, episode 1 made me like him a lot, but then on, I'm just like, I don't really care about you anymore. I like the prince of the court more. So for me, he's like where would I even put him? Simp tier because he simps for volleyball. I don't really know where to put him, so I'm putting him simp tier for volleyball. Next up is Simon from Gurren Lagann. Now, Gurren Lagann has to be one of my favorite shows of all time. I wouldn't say it's like at the top, but definitely up there, right? Gurren Lagann is such a great show. The ending, amazing. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. It's not even that long. I think it's like, what, 30 something episodes. I don't know. I don't remember how many episodes there are, but Gurren Lagann, amazing. I don't know how much I feel like about Simon. I like Aniki, his brother, a lot more. I don't really want to spoil what happens for him. But you know, I like his brother a lot more. Not literally his brother, but you know, his brother in like a bond. So Simon, if I was supposed to rank him anywhere, I wouldn't say he's like a simp because I don't think he's simp for the girl that much. Maybe a little bit, but you know, it wasn't a big part of his character, right? But if I was supposed to put Simon anywhere, I think he's like A tier. He's definitely cool, but I think there's another character I like a little bit more in the show, and that is Aniki. Next up is Tanjiro. Now, Tanjiro, definitely a simp. Now, I wouldn't say he's a simp in the traditional sense, but you know, he's a simp for his sister. That's kind of weird. Tanjiro is Twitter's favorite MC because apparently Demon Slayer is the most perfect anime of all time to some people's eyes. Definitely not for me. Definitely a good anime, but a lot of people saying it's like the best anime all time. Give it some time, right? You know, we shouldn't be calling best animes of all time so soon. But you know, Demon Slayer, a great anime. I don't know how I feel about Tanjiro. Tanjiro has definitely made me like him a lot more with season 2. So if I was supposed to put Tanjiro anywhere, I think he's B tier. I don't like him that much, but you know, I'm starting to like him. Next up is Giorno Giovanna. Now, this is a lot of JoJo's fans' favorite MC, right? Because, you know, all of the crazy shenanigans stuff he does in part 5. But for me, not my favorite JoJo. He's probably in, like, my lower 2 of JoJo's. I kind of like him as much as Josuke. I just think he's, like, cool, but he's kind of, like, the cool serious type that doesn't talk too much. Like, obviously we have Jotaro, who's kind of the same, but I think Jotaro does it a little bit better than Giorno, in my opinion. Next up is the Chad himself, Jonathan Joestar. You know, literally the embodiment of a Giga Chad. Like, if I show him a picture on screen, look at his physique. Amazing Giga Chad. You know, literally fought a demon, a vampire, which is his pure strength. Right, look at like Jotaro, Giorno, and Josuke. They're literally using stands to defeat their enemies. Jonathan literally uses his bare hands to defeat a vampire like Dio. Right, so Jonathan, still have to put him simp tier though, because you know he simp for Erin all the way through. That he literally died on that boat. spoiler alerts, he died, but you know, he literally dies on that boat just to be a simp, right? So simp tier for Jonathan. He is a Chad, but he is also a simp. You know, every Chad has his weakness. Next up is Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now this is the embodiment of a true Chad. Name a bigger Chad than Yugi. He has the drip. Name someone who could pull out that outfit and look as good as Yugi. He literally has the memes. Name a more memeable character than Yugi. You can't. He has some of the best memes of all time. And third of all, he has Exodia. Exodia Obliterate. So Yugi, definition of a true Giga Chad, definitely goes S tier for me. I don't really need to say much about Yugi. You know, I'm pretty sure we all know Yu-Gi-Oh! If you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your life? How have you not watched Yu-Gi-Oh? So Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an amazing, definitely an S tier MC for me. Next up, to finish this off, Yusuke Urameshi. Now, Yusuke Urameshi is a true Giga Chad. You know, Sigma male. If you haven't seen the clip, let me roll the clip for you. Literally,
she's a fighter and she's trying to get in our way. I don't care if she's a girl or a baby or somebody's grandmother. I'll still knock her out.
Literally beats up a girl and he literally fights a girl and says equal rights, equal fights. Like, he literally knocks that girl out and he literally doesn't care. He literally beats her up. You know, he has no limitations. He will get the job any means possible. So Yusuke Urameshi, he literally equal fights, equal rights. So, you know, Yusuke Urameshi goes S tier. Such a great MC. Go watch Yu Yu Hakusho, an amazing show. Now, obviously, there's a lot of more characters that I have here, but you know, it's either I haven't watched their animes or I haven't finished their anime enough to give you my actually perspective or actually have thoughts on these characters. I thought about ranking this guy from Pokemon, but you know, I really don't know much about him. I just know he's what's it called, a Pokemon Trainer Red or something like that, and I know he's like has his movies and all that, but you know, I personally don't know much about him, so I'm not ranking any of these characters, but eventually I'll finish all of these animes in one day. So this is my ranking, and don't take this too seriously. This was mainly a joke, guys. So mostly these tier rankings are jokes. Obviously, I have like some characters where I actually like Asta and Hitman Reborn, where they're not really jokes, but you know, I just had to put them there because I like them so much. But you know, take this as jokes, guys. I did this for fun and goose and gas, so don't get angry in the comments. Be like, oh, my favorite character is C tier. It doesn't matter, guys. It's not that serious, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would like to know your thoughts and what you guys think. Who's your favorite anime MC of all time? And let me know if I should do like a part 2 of this type of tier list, because there's definitely a lot of MCs that I haven't ranked that are from other animes that I have seen. But you know, if you want to see another part 2 of this tier list where I rank other anime MCs, or maybe you want me to rank anime villains, let me know that in the comments down below. It's my first time doing like an anime type of video, so I hope you guys like this video, and let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this video and who's your favorite anime MC. But I will see you next time. So later, hater. Peace out.